Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Reframeable Podcast, the podcast that brings you people's stories and ideas about how we can work to reframe our relationship, not just with alcohol, but with stress, anxiety, relationships, enjoyment, and so much more. Because changing our relationship with alcohol is about so much more than changing the contents of our glass. This podcast is brought to you by the Reframe app. Reframe is the #1 iOS and Android app to help you cut back or quit drinking alcohol. It uses neuroscience to reframe your relationship with alcohol and unlock the healthiest, happiest you. My name is Kevin Bellack. I'm a certified professional recovery coach and the head of coaching at the Reframe app.
And I'm Emma Simmons. I'm a reframer, a certified life coach, and a Thrive coach with the Reframe app. And I am from New Zealand. And I apologize, I'm a little bit under the weather. We're heading into winter, and I'm a little bit sniffly and ick. I'm okay. I'm coming through out the other side.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. That's all right.
That sucks.
It's one of those things, it's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting in early. We're recording in end of April. No, mid-April. It's not even the end of April, mid-April. I'm getting in early with my winter illness, and I'll be good for the rest of the season.
There you go. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Or I'm getting in early before we start traveling. Sorry, I'm just going to roll my... I'll have to do like a show and tell of my cool little office that we built.
I know. I like that. And
it's like a little spaceship.
For a second, I didn't realize you were like pulling it forward towards you. You can check it on YouTube what this looks like, but I thought you were like pushing a button or something. I'm like, why is it getting closer? What's happening? Is that controlling your camera? Like, what's going on right now?
No, so I'm my office, so I work from home 100% of the time. Yeah, 100% of the time, except when I'm on site, which is therefore not 100% of the time. Anyway, I work from home the majority of the time.
95% of the time. It's 100% of the time.
Yeah. And when we did our kitchen renovations, we built like this little office nook kind of situation for me so that I can have, and my cat Nigel's just joined me because it's snuggle time. Sorry, distractions, everyone. So we built into our kitchen dining area this little nook. And so when it's all closed up, it just looks like kitchen cabinets. And when we open it up, like the wall rolls back and I can slide into my office, I guess, slip in. I'll have to post a video because we'll put it on Instagram or something, I don't know. But it's pretty cool. And then I've got my favourite piece of artwork behind me, which is by Dick Frizzell, a famous New Zealand artist. It's called Mickey to Tiki to Mickey. So it's a picture of Mickey Mouse morphing into Tiki to Mickey, which is a traditional New Zealand kind of drawing piece of artwork.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that... What's the name of
the artist?
Mickey Mouse looking one on the right?
Tiki to Mickey.
Tiki to Mickey. So is that
Tiki to Mickey? To Mickey is to Mickey. M-E-K-E.
I'm gonna stop saying it now.
Yeah, you gotta stop.
I'm gonna stop trying. Yeah.
Tiki to Mickey. To Mickey is in Māori language. If you said something was to Mickey, that means it's like cool or choice or awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That is topical because I will actually be in Orlando on this weekend. We're going to hit up Universal for the weekend when we get there.
Going to go to Hogwarts?
We are going to go to Hogwarts, but I'm looking forward to, I think we can get in early on the Isle of Berk. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan.
What's the Isle of Berk? Why is that ringing a bell?
How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, cool! I don't think that was there when we went to Universal.
Yeah, I think it's opening next month, and I feel like my wife has, with her magical research powers, or whatever. I don't know how she's doing it, but we'll get perhaps in to go see that. And it's like Nintendo World, and yeah.
Man, that is so cool. I'm gutted we missed that when we were at Universal in LA. Juliet, my youngest, is big on Harry Potter and How to Train Your Dragon. She had a whole How to Train Your Dragon birthday party a couple of years back, and I made a toothless pinata for her. Again, I'll post pictures, I guess. It was probably my finest piece of artwork.
Nice.
But yeah, cool. I didn't know that they were doing How to Train Your Dragon at Universal. Oh,
yeah.
All right, we'll have to go back then.
Yeah, that's and that was our favorite when my daughter was growing up. That was probably our favorite, one of all the movies that I miss those days when you could just, not that we can't go to watch these now or watch them now on Disney Plus or whatever. But I do still need to. I should watch that. I do still need to watch Inside Out too.
Oh, it's good.
I totally forgot about that. Whenever it came out, like I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. Everybody's talking about it. I heard it's so good, and I love the first one, and just haven't. This is first
Inside Out
reminder.
2 explains anxiety so
That's what
beautifully.
I hear.
Yeah. Like it explained it way better than I could ever explain it to my kids. And I was like, do you ever get that feeling? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Now we can talk about it. Yeah. I love the Inside Out movies for sure.
Yeah.
So what's the purpose of your trip to Orlando? Clearly not business.
No. Yeah. I was just sitting there thinking, I'm like, where was I going with that? Oh yeah. It was
Tangent
just our
number
favorite.
one.
The purpose is vacation. Yeah. Going on vacation. We'll be in Orlando for 2 days and then heading out on a boat for a few days doing a cruise.
On a cruise?
So, yeah.
Nice.
So with that in mind, I thought that would be a good
segue
reason to talk about just how we show up differently in settings that historically might have been filled with alcohol. I know for me, vacations was one of the times where it's okay, I finally get to relax, and I just drink.
Vacation is almost like a hall pass to just let loose and drink the whole time. Yeah, because alcohol, like when you're on holiday, when you're on vacation, it's no rules apply. To a certain extent, cool. We're on holiday, let's loosen up. Maybe we don't cook every night. We can eat out and get takeaways every night. And yes, those things are great, and a little bit of freedom and a little bit of luxury, but that freedom doesn't necessarily have to apply to alcohol as well, if that's what your journey is about. But it does change the nature of holidays and how we approach them so much.
And one of the tips that I tell people is think about how did you go on vacation before, and or if you're doing anything, it doesn't even have to be a vacation. If you have a wedding this weekend, if you have any kind of function like that where it is just not your normal day to day, it does open it up to be more, like you said, the hall pass for being able to just do whatever you want. It's socially acceptable to pour this in my coffee in the morning before I go out to the beach, or to do this. And especially when you have, like I said, we're going on a cruise, like obviously I don't have the drink package now. Actually, I do have a drink package, but it's the premium coffee drink package that my wife got for me. Yeah, that's how I roll now. But a lot of these places are drinks are included. I know the first cruise I went on, I don't know if it was like a wristband or whatever, but yeah, I was able to
just keep going.
At any point, at any time, I knew where all of the places were, what times they opened by the end of the couple of days we were there. And actually, the last cruise I went on was 6 years ago. Yeah, when I started, right before I started on my journey. It was right after New Year's. We went on a Disney cruise because it was cheaper after New Year's. In between Christmas and New Year's, expensive. The day after or the day of New Year's Day and that. Yeah, it was. I can't remember how many thousands of dollars cheaper it was that year, but
wow.
Yeah, it was sizable. But we went there, and the one thing with Disney on cruises is they don't have drink packages, so you pay as you go. You can still use your card and pay. You don't pay right there, but you get the bill at the end of the week. And me being the only person drinking out of the three of us that went, my wife had a few, and we did do a tasting together, which she suffered through, which meant I just drank for two at it because she took a sip of something and I took the rest.
Finished it off.
I looked at the bill and I'm like, oh yeah, that's all me.
That's hefty.
That was one of the little things that added to my eventual pushing me to make a change.
Little things like that where you're like, oh, that's interesting. That's little. That hits a little bit. When I think about travel before drinking, there's this one moment where husband and I, we went to India for 3 weeks for our friends. I think it was about 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks for a friend's wedding. So we got to travel all over India. We had such a great time. It was we only saw, I say we traveled all over India, we saw maybe 10% of India. Beautiful, amazing. Anywho, I want to go back. But I remember at one point we were in an airport at maybe 9 a.m. it was quite early in the morning before we caught our flight, internal flight, and we had finally found cans of tonic. The tonic was ridiculously hard to find in India for some reason. We had duty-free gin. Finally found cans of tonic stocked up when we found them in this corner store shop thing.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't fit in our luggage, and we were like, we'll just have to drink the tonic. And we were like, if we're going to drink the tonic, we may as well finish off the bottle of gin. So I have this memory of us sitting in an airport in India having donuts for breakfast with gin and tonic, because you don't waste alcohol, is how Emma's brain was going. But that just, I don't know, for a significant amount of my trip, I remember trying to find tonic to go with my gin instead of partaking in India and the beauty and shopping for the traditional gifts and things and the beautiful culture of India. I was trying to find freaking cans of tonic.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that? Travel, I don't know how many hours the flight was, 14 hours or 2 flights at least to get there, and I was preoccupied with trying to find cans of tonic. I didn't spend my whole time trying to find tonic, but it was, I look back and I'm like, wow, there is so much more that you can do when you travel other than drink. If you take drinking out of the equation, you get to experience so much more.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's funny because I was just reminiscing in my head about when I was in India for 6 weeks for work back in the early 2000s, or I think it was like 2006. And we got excited when we found something besides the Foster's and the Kingfisher beer that they had.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much more to experience when the focus or the attention of your trip isn't on where is the next bar, where is the next, or where am I going to drink. Yes, don't get me wrong, there are beautiful wineries and whatnot throughout the world and beautiful venues, but that's just one part of travel, one part of an area, a region. And believe it or not, you can enjoy a vineyard or a winery and the scenery and the beautiful landscape without drinking. I've done that. It's still as beautiful. You don't have to experience the wine. It's difficult and it can be really hard, and I wouldn't recommend that for someone early on in this journey. That can be quite uncomfortable, but yeah, it can be done. What point am I trying to make? The point I'm trying to make is traveling without alcohol can be difficult, but it is also beautiful and so worthwhile. And even things like waking up in the morning ready to go and not waking up in the morning, okay, I've got to get up, I've got to shower. You wake up and you're ready to go to the beach or to the pool or on a tour, on a bike tour or whatever, without feeling dusty, and you remember it all. You experience it with fresh eyes and energy and vigor.
Yeah.
That was a big word.
I was going to say, is that bigger?
Vigor, Vigor.
O-R, yeah.
Yeah.
O-R.
Vigor.
At least in the US, we leave out the O or the U on a lot of those.
I don't know if we leave out the U here. Anyway.
Yeah, because I agree, and I'll talk about that too, but I was just thinking how I used to approach these types of things. And it was always, it's funny because I'm creating my little packing list. My wife's been putting things in the corner of our room for weeks now, like getting ready. And I'm like, when are we leaving?
You'll pack 3 hours before.
When are we leaving Saturday? I'll do a dry run on maybe Wednesday night and then see if I need anything and then just throw it all in a bag on. I say throw it. It's fairly organized. I'm still anal, but it's also last minute. So I was going to say how I used to go about it, and it was always the same. Every trip, no matter where, it was always the stress that led up to it, because just the day of or the travel surrounding it. Travel is stressful, right? You get delayed if you have issues with getting somewhere, whether you're flying or driving. I saw a meme on Instagram once that talked about I thought about this before too, where you introduce yourself and you said, I'm a Thrive coach with Reframe from New Zealand. And I was like, I never say where I'm from, but I'm in Ohio now, but I'm in the Midwest. And I saw this where we're from the Midwest. we drive to every vacation, even if it's 20 hours away. And that's
Oh,
what we
no,
do.
thank you.
Like we would drive to Virginia or Florida and this is up to like last year. We done this and that's 15 hours, but we drive. So guess what? I can plan and pack things because I don't have to worry about a flight. So I would pack so much stuff to make sure that, okay, what do I want to enjoy and bring with me on this vacation, on this trip? And it was always the same. I worked a ton to get ready to take a week off, and then I travel, and then you get there, and the first day was always the first night, a shit show. Like it was always so bad because I was finally like, I collapsed. I'm like, I can finally relax. Let's start drinking. And it usually ended up badly. And I would wake up the next morning feeling awful, probably apologizing to somebody we were with and for just having too much, and nothing bad ever, but it was, and then I would wake up and I would feel like shit. And guess what? I would have to have a drink to feel a little bit better. And the cycle started that whole week. It was never getting out of that cycle. And so go ahead, what were you going to say there?
I was just going to say, the funny thing is, like you said that you would drink once you arrived at your destination, you would drink to relax. And we know now that there are so many better ways to relax, deeply relax. Excuse me. Whether it's by the pool or in a sauna or a massage or a walk around the area to just like decompress and take in your surroundings. And something I've learned is lounging by a pool in the sun with a soda water with a bit of lime and a bit of mint is amazing. Absolutely phenomenal. You do not need alcohol to help you relax in that environment, and actually staying hydrated and getting that water in, because you're laying in the sun, which I know is not good for our skin. I'm fully aware, but I'm like a lizard and I need to defrost sometimes. And laying by the pool with the soda water so that you're staying hydrated, and as you're sweating out in the sun. All of my holidays involve sun and laying by a pool, but it's so much more relaxing and you feel so much better about yourself and about, you can have, my point being, you can have a beautiful relaxing moment by the pool, no alcohol needed, and having a soda water is just so refreshing and hydrating and lovely.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't believe you. You're lying. Like it can't possibly be. That's what I thought. I'm like, how the hell am I going to go on a vacation and not drink? Because I have never, and that's the thing that we have to think about. And it doesn't even have to be like you're not drinking. If you are cutting back, if you're trying to moderate, there are ways to do it. And one of the things I always think about with anything is, what's the purpose of it? Whether it's we're getting together across the street with a friend or we're going on vacation somewhere, what's the purpose of it? And for me, it was always I'm going to relax this week. Probably the least relaxed I've ever felt in my life is coming back after vacation, like after a brutal week of just
drinking hard,
and it wasn't even, I don't want to make it out like I was just going nuts. I drank plenty, but it didn't even take that much to just that constant flow all week to then guess what? You're traveling back and you're dealing with stress again. And then you have to go back to work the next day or the day after or whatever. And you're like, I need a vacation from my vacation. I always said that.
So you have a few drinks or a few too many drinks at night or in the afternoon and the evening. And then the next day you're still paying for, you're tired. And so you're not relaxed and you're trying to put on this front and this effort to have fun and have a good time with your family or friends or whatever. And it's so much effort. It's just effort on top of effort for the sake of drinking. It seems, counterintuitive, counterproductive.
So how do you, and going back to the sun and the heat part of it, to let you know how I feel about that, my wife just texted me earlier the weather for Sunday, and it said like 87 feels like 93, and 93 Fahrenheit is, I have it up already. 34 Celsius.
And toasty.
Yeah, nice and toasty. And we're going to be walking around Universal. I'm like, that's miserable. That is awful. I was joking. My daughter was like, oh, I'm going to get so tan. And she does get tan. She has more of my wife's complexion.
Hashtag blessed.
Yeah. And my daughter has a mix of both of us where she's me in the winter and then her in the summer. But I said, you know what? I'm actually going to try and get even more pale while I'm there. It's like almost a game. You know what? I cover up the tattoos. I don't even lather up. I just cover up the tattoos and stay out of the sun is my typical goal anymore. I don't even care. I can enjoy the warmth without baking fully or frying. I don't know.
I see. We'll happily, lather up with sunscreen and lay by the pool. And it's not necessarily to try and tan. It's just like defrosting. I don't know. I'm such a cold-blooded. I'm always cold.
Yeah. It's a joke of my brother. My brother has a pool, and he has this one tree by his house that...
Is it the Kevin tree?
It is, because I don't even know. I don't even do it on purpose half the time. I show up at 3:00. That's when the shade from that tree hits the one corner of the pool in the shower that I go to and just stand in the shade. But usually I'm like, I'm not coming over till 3 because other than that, it's just you're in direct sunlight the entire time. So, this species of ginger seeks out shade.
But it's all very well and good to say, like, for us to talk about how going on sober vacations or holidaying without drinking is awesome and it can be done. But you definitely need tools to make that happen.
Yeah.
And I remember my first, it wasn't a vacation, it was a work trip, alcohol-free. I would have been maybe 2 months alcohol-free at the time. And those of you who have been on Reframe for a couple of years now may remember I shared regularly leading up to this trip to try and get my ducks in a row, get my ideas straight, asking for ideas, asking for tips from everyone in Reframe on how am I going to do this work trip alcohol free. And I had a great plan. So I had things like setting my intention every morning that I was going to be alcohol free and I was going to have a good day. I asked for the minibar to be removed from my room, which I have heard, I haven't experienced it, but some hotels will charge you to have the minibar removed, which I think is really stinking annoying, but apparently some do it. I've never experienced it. I actually have a funny story. So we were with that, because it was a work conference, I emailed the travel agents or the booking agency that was booking all of our conference and asked if the minibar could be removed from my room. And they, instead of messaging me back, the travel agent messaged the CEO of the company and said, oh, I think Emma might need a private room. It sounds like she's dealing with some things. And so the CEO then reached out to me and said, hey, just wanting to check if you're okay. How are you feeling about this trip? The travel agent messaged me this, and I just, how can we make this okay for you? And I was like, okay. So I just absolutely came clean to the CEO of the company. I was like, look, I'm alcohol free. I've been alcohol free for about 2 months. I just asked for the minibar to be removed from my room. It's not a big deal. I'm putting these steps in place to protect myself and to protect my sobriety. And he was like, thanks for telling me. This is awesome. He's like, I absolutely 100% support you having the minibar removed from your room. Let me know if we can support you in any way. And he made sure that there were alcohol-free options at all of the venues that we were going to. And so just by having that conversation that I actually wasn't ready to have, but I was forced to have, it definitely made the whole trip a little bit easier, and that knowing that I had the damn CEO having my back. That's a pretty cool wingman to have.
Exactly.
But yes, that was I was like, it's really not a big deal. I was trying to not really tell anyone, but it turned into this big thing.
Best laid plans, and then the travel agent outs you and says, and just goes right to the CEO and be like, I think Emma's going through some stuff. Wow, that's not appropriate, perhaps. I don't know.
It feels like it
worked out, yes. And that goes to show too, I think, that it does. I've heard it more times than I haven't about how something like that happens and the person has your back, whatever. But obviously, maybe you don't want people don't want the CEO knowing, but then again, maybe they do. It's not. What does it matter? I get it. It can matter.
To be fair, the last time I got absolutely tanked was with the CEO. So he was probably like, well, that's a heck of a lot of a cheaper holiday. Thanks, Em.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah, when the CEO's credit card's on the bar, it's...
And that's... go ahead.
No, carry on.
I was just thinking, because that was like my first test when I didn't know what I was doing at the time because it was early on. I just did the cruise in January. I got a therapist in January. I started talking with her, and I felt like motivated. Like I finally started doing something because I was like, okay, I need to do something. I don't know what, I don't know where this is going to go. I never said it was going to be, I was going to stop drinking. I was always just, I'm going to take a break. And I did. And I took a break, and 2 months, just like you said, as well. I hit 60 days, and I was in San Antonio for a work conference. And I was like, okay, because the whole time I was sitting there talking to my therapist, but when can I drink again? Like, when can I introduce it again? Is it at
when am I cured?
Yeah. There's a switch the dimmer switch that you're going to install in my brain going to be installed. And I was like, is it going to be St. Patrick's Day? Is it going to be in San Antonio that week after? Is it going to be at this other trip that we're doing with my parents? Is it going to be at the vacation at the end of the April? I was like, when? And I was like, okay, San Antonio, I had 60 days. I'm gonna do this. So the first night I was like, okay, I'm going to go to happy hour, not have anything to drink there, mingle, and then go out to dinner with our company, people from our company. I'll have one drink. And I did. It was on my mind the entire time. I was focused and all this stuff. I was worried about all the questions I might get from other people who were there. Really? You're not drinking? And then the next night, same thing. I was going to be like, okay, we're going to go to this place now. And I'm going to 2 or 3 drinks here. That's it. That's the plan. And then we got there, and I saw the whiskey tasting they had, and I just swore. I told my boss at the time, he knew that I was stepping back a little bit, we'll say. It's probably what I told him. And he's like, oh, what are you going to do? I'm like, screw it. And now it's the thing. Sometimes we have good intentions, and maybe we're just not ready to handle a certain situation that we're being thrust into, or we stumble upon, or whatever. And I took that as I didn't drink as much as I would have otherwise. Let's say that. Silver linings. But I then came back and I looked at it and said, okay, how would I do that differently next time? What would I do? It would just be, in my head, I think it was a different response, or expecting it. It made me realize that anything could happen, right? The best laid plans that I had, the way I thought things out, I was going to get thrown curveballs. And what do I do when that happens? And to expect those. And it's not that I was like going to be scared about stuff, but it was just to anticipate things being different than what you planned, and then coming up with some ideas from there.
When you reflect on the holidays and the experiences that you have had, you can often look back and be like, okay, at what point what could I change from that, or what could have been different? You could have chosen to not go to that after party bar whiskey tasting thing. You could have chosen not to partake in the whiskey tasting if you were confident enough doing that. But I think a lot of it comes with how far along in your journey you are, and how comfortable you are with the people that you're with, and saying no. And sometimes it's easier to just avoid the whole situation and be like, no, I'm just going to either not go on this trip if that's possible, or I'm going to go back to my room and journal, meditate, sleep. I don't know.
Yeah. I was still fairly new in my journey, that don't know that I would have done those things, let's say. I was still maybe a little overconfident. And now I think the thing is, if I had known that it was a whiskey tasting, I would have thought about it differently. And I think I would have run it through that lens of, okay, do I go to this? Or, because I know that's like if I have a kryptonite, that was it back then. And just walking into that, not knowing it, it wasn't even that I wanted to not drink anymore. I was like, screw it. I'm not gonna even fight it. I'm just gonna go with it.
I think even me 2 years in now, if the work event was like, oh, we're doing a whiskey tasting, I think I would probably excuse myself from it. I don't think I would want to just, I don't know. I don't think I would want to be around that environment, it doesn't sound enjoyable or pleasurable for me. I don't think that would be beneficial to me, my career, my mental health, my sobriety journey. Yeah.
I had I don't want to say a similar scenario, but something come up. I think I was probably a little over 3 years alcohol free. And my brothers and my nephews were going to Kentucky. They were going to get an Airbnb, do like the whiskey tour because the Bourbon Trail is down there. And I was going to go. I would have been fine going. I had no issues with it. But I ran through the lens. I'm like, well, do I want to? Yeah, we'll hang out at night, be together, BS, talk. I could go to those if I wanted to, but I probably just would have stayed home or stayed at the Airbnb and just read or worked or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to pass on this. I'm like, as much as I want to go and sit out at a fire at night while you guys drink and smoke cigars, and sure, I could smoke a cigar, but I stopped doing that when I stopped drinking. And it's not like that's all they did. They ate good food, all that. I just was like, it's not worth it for me. And if they do it again, I'll probably go the next time. But I don't feel like I missed out on it. It was them and their sons. So I was like, they're fine. They don't, it's a special bonding thing for them they can do. But it is, I don't know if that's learning along the way or however we want to view that or see that. It is being able to run it through that. Do I want to do this? Is this something that will, without the thing that I would have normally done there, which was drink a lot, taste, whatever I would have rationalized there. Without that,
educate yourself.
Is that something I want to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, it just wasn't. There's a lot of other stuff going on. I was just like, I'm good. Not the same scenario, but it is just another thing that we can say no, and we might think, oh, but you missed out. It's like, did I? We got together another time. We got together for the holidays right after that. Like there's all these factors coming into my mind that it's not like I don't see them. And if that was the case, maybe I would have gone. If it was more of a, hey, we don't get together a lot. We live in different cities or states or countries, and we're doing this. Yeah, I would have ran through that lens again and said, yes, I will go. But
yeah, weighing up the scenarios and there's no right or wrong answer in any scenario. It's what you feel like you can handle or manage at that time. What's going to work for you? What feels good for you? What feels right for you at that time? And there's definitely no one size fits all. You can be totally okay with going to a wine tasting and watching everyone drink and taste wine one day, and then a month later you can be like, I absolutely have no interest in doing that today. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's about what you can manage and what feels good.
Yeah.
So what kind of tools do you take with you when you're going on holiday or vacationing? You guys say vacation, we say holiday.
Yeah. Holiday to me is like Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays. Yeah, we don't go on holiday. We don't have. Do you have holiday time off or holiday time? We have PTO.
Have annual leave.
Yeah. PTO, personal time off or whatever.
But see, for us, our summer holidays are the same time as Christmas, New Year. So it's holiday. All the same. Same. Our summer holiday is the holidays.
Yeah. I mentioned it before, I believe. It's just about like, how did I show up before? What did I do? What did I want to do? And it depends on where I was going. If I'm going to a beach, I would sit on the beach or at the pool and we would drink, and then we would go out to eat, and then we'd drink there, and we would come home and play games. And there's those types of things that I could do. And so I would plan. I would be like, okay, what am I going to drink on the beach? Do I need to go to the beach for as long? I don't like being in the sun anyway, but I will still focus on, okay, what am I going to do while I'm there? Let's get some stuff. Let's get some activities to do. And I made sure that I had a fully stocked cooler of things I wanted to drink, and making sure that I have those, whether it was an NA beer or I like ginger beer, soda, it doesn't matter. Just making sure that I had something there. I would throw it in my Yeti can holder, take that with me, and I'd be good to go. Not staying as long, having an exit strategy, exit plan, which goes for really anything we do. Because at a certain point, I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm good here. I'm going to go back and read in the shade by the pool, and again, this is the whole beach scenario thing. But regardless of what we do, is like if I go to Vegas, if I've gone to, I just totally drew a complete blank of where I've gone on vacation over the past couple of years. But like wherever it is, like understanding how would I normally drink here? How would I normally get together with people, have fun? Where would alcohol show up before, so that I can think about how I want it to show up now, how I want to change up what I do.
And I think, having those options of what will you drink if you're not going to drink alcohol, if you are at the pool, at the beach, at whatever the event is, cool, you're not going to drink alcohol, but what are you going to drink? And knowing if you've gone, sometimes BYO is not an option. Like sometimes you can't have a cooler or a Yeti with your own stuff in it. So things like researching the menu of the hotel that you're staying at, seeing what options they have, checking, like if there's no minibar in the room, awesome. Can you then stock that mini fridge with your own? So is there a 7-Eleven or we would call it a dairy in New Zealand, or a corner shop where you can go and buy, like a little supermarket where you can go and buy some stuff? Can you stock up for yourself? Do a little bit of research. It doesn't need to be too intense, but just a little bit of research on where you're going and what are you going to drink? It's all very well and good to say, I'm not going to drink alcohol, but cool, what are you going to drink? You can't go a week without drinking anything.
Yeah. Leeson, who's one of our coaches, I think she might have shared this she was on the podcast a while back. She shared about how she was going on a cruise, and she called the cruise line ahead of time and said, hey, I'm alcohol free. I don't drink. What are your options for non-alcoholic beverages? I like mocktails and other types of non-alcoholic wine or whatever. And she said they were great. And they probably marked it down on their room of that they're not drinking. And I know she said she walked in one day and there was like a bottle of, I think it was Naughty or something like that, like a non-alcoholic champagne for the two of them. Mm-hmm. And they really accommodated her because she asked. She called ahead and she researched it, she asked them, and just let it be known. And that is one of the best things we can do, is just a little bit of research ahead of time. Even if that's a great outcome there, because I didn't do that with my cruise this time because I'm more, like I said, I don't care right now. I've been on enough vacations that I'm not concerned. Now, this is the last cruise since the last one when I was drinking, but I'm not too concerned. But
you're confident that they'll have ginger beer or soda water or something that you will be happy enough to drink.
Like I said, I got the specialty coffee package. I'll be drinking iced coffee I'm wired drinking iced coffee all week. That's it's much cheaper package too.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, that's the thing, is just that planning ahead, looking ahead. Even if you can do that in your day-to-day life too. Oh, we're going out to this place, this new place. Mm-hmm. What do they have? Go online. Beauty of the internet.
That's my go-to for any event, any restaurant, any outing, research the menu beforehand and see what they have. I think did I share on the podcast, or I shared in a meeting recently about, we went out to a show with some friends and I didn't do my homework. I didn't research what was available and the pickings were very slim and I was quite disappointed. So I don't know, that reinforced my lesson that I need to research what's available. There were no mocktails. There were no fun alcohol-free beers. It was just sodas, like just cola, lemonade. Actually, they'd sold out of ginger beer, lemon bitters, lemonade, and I was stuck with a cola. And I was like, at least it's not alcohol. But I was quite disappointed. So do your homework, and then you don't get disappointed. You know what you're in for. Yeah. What? Anywho, that's Emma's pet peeve. What other tools? Another tricky part is, I don't know if you're flying down to Orlando, Florida, but
we are. We're flying. Our friends are driving. That's usually Midwest. Me. I'm all about driving.
See, New Zealand's just not that big. Anywhere over a 3-hour drive, we're like, no, that's a flight.
Oh, I think we just. Last year spring break, we did a whole college tour thing. with my daughter, and I think I tallied up like 40 hours of driving over a week. Yeah.
If you are watching this, you can just see me absolutely shaking my
You
head.
can
Like,
hear just
no, we do not. New Zealand's just not that big. It absolutely blows my mind that you can drive for 12 hours and still be in like the same state. You can't drive for 12 hours. You could, but you'd be driving in a circle in New Zealand.
I'm guessing we're talking like California or something.
Texas, I think.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe California as well, like a long line. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Tangent.
Probably not, because it takes, I think, about 15 hours for us to get to the top of Florida by the Gulf of Mexico. So we're up by Lake Erie up top. So anyway,
tangent. Airports can be triggering.
Airports
was the point that I was getting at.
Yes.
How do you navigate airports?
Snacks. I pack snacks ahead of time in my backpack for sure, because it depends. Like, are you in the club? Or, what, I can't remember. Is that the right?
In the club?
In the club. What am I thinking of?
The lounge, like the airport
lounge,
the airline lounge.
Yeah, club lounge, same thing.
In New Zealand, the New Zealand one's called the Kuru Club. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I've heard of both, I think. So I don't think I'm totally making them up, or maybe I'm just trying to justify it.
Be cool.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna delete this out. No, but right, there is that, and it's sometimes it's like free booze. It's like going on an all-inclusive vacation. So I'm losing money if I do this. Are you though?
Yeah, but it's free juice as well. It's free soda. It's free
food if it's all inclusive, if it's included there. And that's the staying away from. Again, it's always, for me, I'm going to say again, because I keep going back to the same thing. It's know thyself, right? It's how do I typically show up? How can I change that? I don't need to go to the lounge. I'm going to go to the Starbucks and sit outside there. I'm going to make sure I have a book, or I have essentially on any given flight, probably 50 hours worth of material that I can access, whether it is a book in hand, a magazine, a whole series, a season of a series, 3 movies, you name it. Like, I have it downloaded and
podcast, audiobooks. Yeah.
I do all that stuff.
Sudoku.
Oh yeah, games. Yeah. And so making sure that I have stuff to entertain me, or depending on when Avery's younger, it was a little bit different, being able to, now she's self-sufficient, or we can play games together, whatever, on our phones. But yeah, for me, airports are all about just like, I hunker down, I try and power down. I anticipate the fact that it's going to be stressful. What can I do to help myself there? What do you do?
So a great tip that doesn't work for everyone that I have found useful is to arrive at the airport just as they're calling your name to board the flight, and then you don't have time to go. No, I'm joking. I've only done that once, but it was helpful. Like, just walk straight onto the plane.
Sure.
I only just made it through security, but it's a tool.
It's a risky tool, because what happens when you miss?
Don't make it through security, and then you miss your flight,
and then you're stuck there for hours and hours or days, and yeah.
No, I think I'm probably the same as you in that I've never been to a bougie airline lounge. I don't know what that's about. Poor Emma.
I've been there once or twice, with someone else, and
send air points.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big shopper either. So like the whole duty free thing, I'm not.
Yeah.
That's not really my thing either, but I'm quite happy in terms of, I'm not a big shopper. I would absolutely go to the bookstore and see if there's another book to go with my 3 others that I already have packed that I might like to.
Mine's magazines. I don't do it anymore. I've gotten out of the habit, but up until, for the first, let's say from being 20 until 42, I couldn't get out of one of it's like the Hudson News, like the shops that have the magazines and books, and I could not get out of there with at least one magazine, usually multiples, that I never ever read. I had best intentions, but it was always like, I'm going to get these, and I'm going to just read this on the plane, whatever. It was like an illness. I couldn't leave without getting that. I don't know. It's like that. Yeah. I don't know.
We were talking at the beginning of the episode about how, like, vacations and holidays, it's like the rules don't apply.
Yeah.
Same with snacks in an airport, right?
Oh yeah.
Normally you're like, I don't know, when you're at home, you're like, I don't buy snacks, I don't eat chippies, I don't eat candy. I know this is not something Kevin and I have ever said. We're like, I'm on a health kick. But then when you're at the airport, that doesn't apply. And you're buying the Pringles and you're buying the family-sized bag of whatever. And yes, you're paying twice as much, but rules don't apply.
Well, that too. You can buy. You can't take liquids on, but you can bring
a lot of candy
in your backpack or whatever. And that doesn't mean that I still won't see something and be like, "Ooh, what's that? I'm going to try that." But yeah, I always that because snacks, like food, like that kind of thing, like you just said, it's like the rules don't apply, and that's because that's how I was with alcohol, and it'd be like, all right, rules don't apply with this either, so I'm going to bring some comfort food that I like, whatever. Sit there with a book or listen to a book or watch a movie, and how can I distract myself and stay away from
airport lounge, not at the lounge, like when you're sitting at the gate and you're waiting for your flight, it is actually a great place to I don't know how to explain this, like just decompress, take a deep breath and have a moment of silence. If you're traveling by yourself in particular, if you're traveling with kids, not so much, but young kids, you can just sit there and just read, and there's the hubbub going around you, but you can pop earbuds in, or you can just have that moment of I don't have to work, I don't have to organize anything or do anything. Hopefully your whole holiday and vacation is planned and good to go.
You can potentially work too, but
it depends on what the trip is for. If it's a trip for work, then you might be working, but if it's a vacation, then you might be able to sit there and just be like, I'm at the airport, I'm ready for my flight, I've checked in, I've checked my bags, there is nothing more that needs to be done right now. Let's just chill for half an hour or whatever it is.
And
I think that's not a moment we get in life very often. No. Not a moment I get in life very often.
No. And maybe, and we hear it a lot, right? That would be the moment that people fill with alcohol. But how can we, I'll give you a play the tape forward scenario that you can use on the next time. When I was coming home from Dallas last year, we met there, amongst other reframers in that, I got on the flight to come home from Dallas, and the two ladies across from me, could tell they had a few drinks. They weren't being annoying or anything, but they're funny, whatever. And then they're like, folks, we have an issue. They got to change. We had a flat tire or something, or the tire needed changed. We're going to have to ask you. We were hoping to do it without taking you off, but we're going to have to ask you to get off the plane. And so those two ladies, I remember saying something to the effect of, looks like Dallas wasn't done with us. I guess we could just get to drink more. And so we got off the plane, and they said it was going to be 60 to 90 minutes. Okay. 30 minutes later, I got an alert on my phone that said it was boarding again. And I had just gone down farther and I was working a little bit. And I looked and I'm like, oh, people are lining up. I'm like, oh, shit, that was quick. A lot quicker than they told us.
Oh, those ladies didn't make the flight.
Guess who was it on the flight? Because they went down to probably farther down to go to the bar that they were at before, and they probably didn't see their phone. Or I was if I wasn't in sight of it, I probably wouldn't have went down, because I was like, that was way too quick from what they said. But yeah, they got us on, and we were taking off. I'm like, ooh, that sucks.
Oopsies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So playing the tape forward and being like, I'm better off. You never know.
Being alert, being aware, being ready, being present.
Yeah. Which is nice to say, and sometimes difficult to do. And that's why, maybe that's why I plan ahead so much and have all the content, all the snacks, all the things ready, is because I'm anticipating delays. I'm anticipating that type of thing. So what's going to get me through?
Yeah, I giggle because we both know that I struggle to be present and prepared and ready and all of those things.
But I'm very much like you said, like I feel like I am able to do that in that setting. Like I feel like I almost do power down, because it can be so stressful and everybody else is so stressful around me. This is just me for sure. I feel like I power down and I'm just kind of not there. it's not that I'm not there. I am just more chill. Just because I'm like, okay, we're delayed this. What am I going to do?
What do you yeah, yeah. That was a great stutter, Emma.
I could get angry and how dare you delay the flight? I'm like, yeah, this is a complicated network of planes going back and forth all across the world. I'm like, I'm not going to pretend that I know more than the person working here. So I'm just being like, okay, cool. Do we just chill here for another 2 hours? Okay.
You'll get there eventually. Yeah, I'd rather get on a plane that had tires that work than get on a plane with tires that don't.
Exactly.
I'm not a aeronautical engineer, but it seems pretty important. Aeronautical? Is that the right word?
I don't know. That sounded very
aerobatical? No,
aero engineer. I don't know.
Aerobatic?
Aeronautical sounds like you're combining like the air and the sea.
We're going on a submarine airplane. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a pilot, but I feel like wheels are important.
I know. Yes. I will say yes to that.
Yes.
I am not either, but they are. But what else do you think of when you are, because there's the travel, right? Whether it's airplane, whether you're driving, you're staying at hotels, and you get there, what are you focusing on most?
I think it's really important, and we touched on this earlier, to focus on the purpose of the trip. Is the purpose of the trip to get drunk? If so, then perhaps this isn't the right vacation for you. But I don't know where, maybe back in the day, the purpose of a vacation would have been for me to get drunk. But these days, it's generally to experience, if I'm traveling overseas, a different culture, or experience a different town. Perhaps it's experience catching up with friends and experiencing friendship. Very rarely these days is the purpose of a vacation to drink. And that's the same as, like we said before, with any event, is if you're at a wedding or a baby shower or a birthday party, what's the purpose of it? Chances are none of those events, the purpose is to get drunk. The purpose of the wedding is to celebrate the couple and the love. The purpose of a baby shower is to celebrate the couple and the baby.
Yeah.
Purpose of the vacation, is it to rest and relax? And how does that look for you? Is the purpose of the vacation to explore a different culture? Well, what sightseeing trips have you booked? What touristy things have you booked in? How are you going to immerse yourself in that culture?
Yeah.
So I think being mindful of why you're traveling is really important, to keep that in your focus of why are you there.
And I'll just say, I was thinking of something that I wrote a few years back, and it was about going to Vegas, and that was like my second sober vacation. And the first one was a couple months before, because it was like the year after COVID. So it was 2021, and we were supposed to go on vacation in 2020. It didn't happen. So then it was like we had two things that we were doing that we had to go, didn't have to, but we went to in 2021. And the first one was a beach vacation. Planned that out. That was my first one. And then the second one a few months later was to Vegas. And what you just said there, what's the point? How can you change your focus? And I think the article that I wrote was one of the things was like, the best way to vacation in Vegas is to get the hell out of Vegas, because there's so much around there that we did. We got there, but we still got there 2 years alcohol free. And I remember vividly we put our bags in the room, and it was my first day vacation syndrome that came up for me. And we went down to meet family we were all going to go somewhere to eat. And we get to the floor, and I immediately was like, I want to drink like right now. And I was stressed. It was like a long flight. It was delays. We rented a car because we were going to be going to like Zion and Grand Canyon for a couple of days. But that first night, we waited for the rental car. It took forever. I'm driving around Vegas, we were literally like one of the closest hotels to the airport. And still I was like, oh my God, why am I driving around Vegas? And we get there. I'm stressed. I'm hungry. My blood sugar was so low because I was so hungry.
Lonely, tired.
Yeah. I wasn't lonely. That was the only one, but I was all the others. And I remember we were down on the floor, and we were like, where are we going to eat? I don't know. Everybody's sitting there talking, and I'm just like not contributing. And I look over at my wife and I'm like, I whisper to her, I'm like, if you guys don't choose where we're going to go to eat, I'm going to that bar. And I told her my exact order and I'm going to down that drink because that's where my head's at right now. It was, and that's the thing, like when we go to make a change, like it's all fine in where we're at, but then we can go somewhere else. And these thoughts are going to come up because that's what we're used to doing in this place. I've been to Vegas plenty of times where all I did was drink. And it was the sights, it was the smell. People were smoking still. It was the sounds. It was the people walking around with trays. It was the bar in any direction that I could see. I was like, holy shit, I want to drink right now. And
sounds like a well-treated neural pathway.
Oh yeah,
that was kicking in.
Yeah. And so I said that to my wife because she knew it was a joke / okay, let's pick something. So she immediately was like, all right, let's go. Right up here is just a pizza place. We're just going to do that tonight. I had a giant slice of New York style pizza and a Diet Coke. Guess who was fine for the rest of the week? I never thought about it again. It never crossed my mind. I was never even remotely thinking about it but in that moment, it was so overwhelming because I was like, I'm fine. I already went on a vacation to the beach. I'm 2 years alcohol free. I was like all of that. And then no, this is different.
It sounds like another great tool that I like as well is having a wingman or a wingwoman, and your wife in that moment was your wingwoman.
Yeah.
Of where someone you can be like, I don't know, warning, panic button, like SOS. I don't know. You could have a code word or whatever, but being able to talk to your wife in that moment, be like, we got to do something now. Like,
my code word was describing her in great detail. A previous drink of mine that I would have got. She realized like, hey,
warning.
Yeah, danger. And then the other thing with that too was I got a lot of questions like, how do you have fun if you don't drink on vacation?
And so much.
Yeah.
I can even think in Vegas of all the fun. Like there are so many shows and so many things, and just walking the strip and seeing all the street entertainment it's still entertaining, even if you're not drinking.
Yeah. And that's why I said there's so many, we need to get rid of this alcohol equals fun type of thing. Like I had plenty of fun when I was drinking, but the alcohol was sometimes causing the fun. But there's so many other emotions than fun. I might have been having fun, but I might not have been happy at the time. I know that's a little nuanced, but I wasn't happy whenever I was feeling like shit and drunk and in a pool and all that. It might have looked like I was having fun, but it's like, what else? Like relaxation, like contentment, like just all those things like on a vacation or something like that you can do, I think also need to be looked at. There's more emotions than fun.
Intrigue, interest, education. And education doesn't sound interesting, but I'm big on cultural things around the world and learning about different culture. When I traveled to America in just under a month, exciting. I'm hoping to get to and learn some of the natural culture, natural history of the area we're going to. That natural's not the right word.
Wilderness, like type of thing.
The history in the wilderness and so like the culture of the indigenous culture, the people that were there before, way back when. There are so many. New Zealand's a pretty young country to begin with. We do embrace our indigenous culture really well and a lot. The Treaty of Waitangi, one of our founding documents, wasn't signed until 1840. So we're a relatively young country compared to the rest of the world. And so I love, holidays can be, or vacations can be aren't necessarily just about having fun. But fun isn't necessarily that high energy party thing. Fun to me is enjoyment, and I get enjoyment out of history because I'm that kind of geek. History and nature and geology. I love going on like hikes and bushwalks and seeing the nature and that kind of stuff. None of that involves drinking or partying.
Yeah.
And that's my kind of vacation.
I like chilling.
Not by the pool.
No, I could do it by the pool as long as there's shade. I sound like the most fun person, I know. But no, I like to relax. That's a vacation for me. We've done plenty of things where we're actually doing stuff like that Vegas trip. Like we would go into Zion. The next day, my daughter and I went canyoneering. that was awesome. We went to the Grand Canyon, and I thought we were in a Friday the 13th movie because I'm like, yeah, I hope, is that door locked? Because Jason's coming in here tonight for sure. Like we stayed in like these cabins, these tiny cabins on like the south. I don't remember, like, I think it had to be the north. But there was like this lodge that overlooked the canyon, like huge like glass, and restaurant was there. But then they had these little cabins around that if I went 20 feet that way, I'd be in the canyon. I'd be rolling down the canyon.
Oh, no.
I'm sure there was like a guard or a guardrail there or something, but the houses, I'm like, this is straight out of a 80s horror movie. It was my immediate thought. The other people we were with didn't like that I voiced that out loud, but I'm like, I'm just saying, looking forward to just leaving tomorrow and being able to.
All my limbs intact.
Yeah, but it was fun. And but I remember waking up at 5 a.m. that next morning and going out, and I went to the one lookout and put my phone up with the time lapse like the sunrise and on the canyon wall and that. And you want to talk about fun? My daughter joined me like half hour, 45 minutes later. We were hanging out there for a while. I was recording her doing TikTok dances when we were there. I'm like, you know what I wouldn't have probably wanted to do or been doing at that early in the morning was any of that. And
yeah,
that just felt so good to be able to experience that. So like playing the tape forward and being like, what do I want to do here? What do I want to experience? And how do I want to show up is always a good start.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like that's not your typical overt fun kind of experience, but that sounds beautiful and lovely. And I can imagine you having so much fun and joy with your daughter in that moment. Yeah. And like you said, you would have missed it had you been drinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Let's wrap this up.
Where to next? Do we miss anything? Is there anything that you would recommend otherwise as far as have a plan? Having support from others.
Support, research, knowing what your tools are. We've talked a lot about in the moment kind of tools and on location tools, but remembering that there are always meetings online. There's always, if you're a reframer, the Reframe forum. And this is another reason why building support groups and joining challenges and challenge groups and building your support network is really important as well, because yes, we're all over the world, but that also means that we're also always in your back pocket, in your phone, and knowing who you can quickly flick a message off to, and knowing that someone's going to be there to answer that message is really important as well.
Yeah.
And those can be more private tools that you take everywhere with you.
Yeah, I love when people come on to meetings and just share, hey, okay, I'm leaving in a few days, or I'm leaving tomorrow, and this is what I'm doing. Does anybody have any suggestions for this? Or they ask questions, but also throw it out there. This is my plan for that accountability. And I'll be back whatever day, whenever they're coming back. Like they might check in, like you said. That's a great thing to remember is Reframe and tools like that in your pocket. You can connect with people still while on vacation.
All different time zones.
Yeah.
Literally all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the Wi-Fi package on the boat too. So if I wanted to, I can do that. Actually, no, I didn't get the Wi-Fi package. Nobody can contact me. Take that back.
No, you've said it now. I'm telling everyone. But also, I think when people come onto a meeting and share that they're going on holiday and have that, it's holding themselves accountable and letting the group and the community know. And then, believe it or not, we care about each other, and we will keep an eye out for the said person on the meetings, and we will check in and go, hey, how's day one of your holiday going? Or how's it been? You okay? We will check in. We do. There's always someone keeping, and that sounds creepy. I was going to say there's always someone keeping an eye out on you, but in a loving, concerned way.
People care. And
people care, We want to see everyone succeed.
Yeah. And people come back and say, I did great. It was great. Or it didn't work out as I planned.
Yeah.
But coming back and continuing on, realizing that one of the most important things that I think for myself is realizing that the context matters. That feeling I had in Vegas is different than just a normal Tuesday here at my house or a normal Saturday night at my house here. It's going to bring up different feelings and different challenges. We can plan, we can prepare, but how can we keep going? Use that information that of going through that and okay, how can I help? How can that help me, good or bad, however you want to look at it, whatever happens, like how can I use that for the next time?
Yeah.
How can I just keep going and use that as information to help me on this journey that I'm on?
Yeah, reflect on it, learn from the experience, good or bad, like you said. If something didn't work, if you happened to drink when you weren't planning on drinking, what was it? What could you have done differently? Yeah. What could you do differently next time?
And you can do that during the vacation too, right? You can stop and at any point we can tell ourselves like, okay, just because I drank on one day and if I wasn't planning on it, doesn't mean that I can't change that up tomorrow.
Yeah. You can have a reset mid-vacation. Absolutely. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. And that is one thing that I bring up as a suggestion for some people, depending on, I'm not drinking on vacation, or I want to moderate, whatever you're going in with. Sometimes starting off with a day or two of not drinking can help set the tone, can help you ease into that vacation, and just having that plan in place of, you know what, I'm not going to do this right away. And if you're planning on moderating, okay, I can do that on the second day or the third day. I can work that in. But sometimes it's almost like getting into an event after that first 20 or 30 minutes, we're more comfortable and relaxed. But it's the beginning that is more of the anxiety inducing part. But
it's a great tip, I reckon, of trying to get through the first day alcohol, or setting the intention, planning that the first day is going to be alcohol free, because I suspect if I were moderating, if I got on holiday and the first thing I did was have a welcome drink, I would have just got the fuckers for the whole rest of the holiday.
Yeah.
You might need to bleep that, sorry.
We'll leave it in.
But I would have absolutely just been like, screwed it up, I'm done. Let's just drink for the rest of the holiday.
Yeah.
No matter what my plan had been going into it. So that's a great.
But it's just remembering too that we're all know thyself. Again, I'll keep saying it that way. Is that Socrates? But know thyself of, okay, how does it show up for you? And how do you think it's best to approach it? And go from there.
Yeah.
But all right. We're going on to the nuggets. Nugget time.
Nuggets of the week. What did we learn this week? So last week when we were chatting to Static, I was talking about this chocolatier in, I don't know if I'm saying that, in Christchurch that makes these beautiful hot chocolate bombs that I'm going to send to Static.
That's right.
And I hadn't really found any others other than this one in Christchurch, which is not where I live. It's where I was traveling for work. But husband and daughter came home yesterday. I was today years old when I learned there's a beautiful handcrafted chocolatier in New Zealand. In New Zealand, oh my gosh, they're all in New Zealand. Geez, Emma, in Auckland, close to where I live. So they came home with this little handcrafted chocolate box for me with this gorgeous little Easter bunny on it. And it's like a little hand-painted watercolor Easter bunny. And this is going to make terrible audio. If I hold it up to my mic, is it like... ASMR?
You have to, I was just talking about this in my wife, you have to tap it, right?
Yeah.
I hate that.
So it's this gorgeous little box about the size of my hand of these little handcrafted chocolates.
You gotta crinkle the paper, yeah.
So I was today years old when I learned that chocolatiers are becoming a thing in New Zealand. I don't know if they're a thing in the rest of the world, but I am here for it. And look at this cute, everyone's going to have to jump onto YouTube or Instagram or something. Look at this cute little gift box.
It really is. I think it's the blue, like these blue ones that look like a globe in there that I think you need to eat one. Well,
so
while I'm sharing, because I want to know what that is.
There's little like carrot cake, like little square chocolates with a little hand-painted carrot on the top. And then there's some hot cross bun ones. Some that look like a little fried egg on top of a round chocolate.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize that was an egg. Okay.
I already ate one of the little purple globy things that was like a creme brulee with a raspberry something in it, which was amazing. All right, here's a little blue one. ASMR.
For those just listening, Emma is trying to hold up the box to her mic. What's the blue? What's the blue one?
It's like I was trying to show you through my microphone. What a munter! It's like a burnt caramel. Oh, it's delicious. No, it's like there's like crunchy bits of honeycomb and caramel, and
sounds good.
It's good. Can you see that might be gross showing you what I'm eating?
It sounds good.
You can hear it crunching?
No, but I hear all your noises.
Oh, that's so yum.
And for those listening or watching, I am feeling exactly like you, because guess who doesn't have chocolate sitting in front of them and enjoying this? I just get to watch Emma eat delicious chocolates.
Sounds like a you problem.
It does. I'm sitting here looking around. I do have a bar and stuff.
It's like crunchy little solid bits of caramel, as well as this gooey caramel. So shout out to Coco Wilds. That was delicious. Not sponsored. Gifted by my husband.
Yet.
Good husband.
Yeah. All right. So the blue ones are thumbs up.
Delicious.
Okay.
Thumbs up for the blue ones. What's your nugget?
Awesome.
What did you learn this week?
My nugget is that I'm fixed. I said zero context there. I got a new journal. So I have a new journal and I'm going on vacation. So I started off, I had a therapy session with my therapist this morning. And I said, okay, just so you know, this is probably going to be our last session together, because I got a new journal and I'm going on vacation. So I'm pretty sure I got this.
Cured.
Yeah, I got this
All problem
life
solved.
thing fixed. But no, I do have my ADHD self did come on a bit. I was halfway done with my old journal and just felt like I needed a new one. I caught this pretty artistic one that it's sparkly. It's like stars. I'm all about space right now and learning about random, what's the show on HBO that I'm like binging? How the Universe Works, I think it's called. Yeah, I'm all about that stuff. But I feel like I needed a fresh start on my journal based on where I was at mentally, and I am hitting the ground running, and it's sometimes you just need that little blank page to get it going.
Yeah, before we started recording, I was giving Kevin shit about his classic ADHD with thinking that a journal will fix everything. Kevin's holding up a stack of 10 odd journals.
Yeah.
But so I was giving him shit about it, but he makes a really good point that sometimes, I don't know, if you're in a funk and the journal that you've got isn't working, then yeah, maybe a fresh journal and a fresh start and a fresh perspective, like a reset. Great idea.
Yeah.
So as much as I was giving you shit about it, sorry, I think it's a great idea.
No.
I changed my mind.
I deserve to get shit about it. I have empty journals here that I could be using, but I have been trying to figure out like a whole process, like my whole system, my process of doing things. I've tried countless apps, countless journals. I was even on these little pocket-sized journals that I really like, and using those recently. And I'm like, yeah, this just isn't it. One of the pages started falling out, and as soon as that happened, that's when I bought this journal, because I was like, okay, this isn't as durable as I wanted it to be. I'm like, I think I just need to go with the new journal, and so far so good.
There's definitely something about pen to paper, like journaling on. I've never got into the hang of. I don't journal at all anyway, so I can't really comment. But journaling on my phone it's just not the same. Something about scrawling on a piece of paper is therapeutic.
Yeah, and we don't need to turn this into a whole journaling topic, because I could talk about that the whole time. Because
yes, you can.
I do my journal on my phone, because one of the important things, especially early on for me, was I wasn't going to. Nowadays, I'll actually go to my daughter's like sporting events or something, and I'll bring this with me, because like, oh, I need to think of something for a meeting tomorrow or whatever, and I'll bring it, so I don't care anymore. But I never did that before, and the one thing that was always with me was my phone. So I needed to really embrace the digital side of things. But yeah, I agree. There's pros and cons to both. But I'm trying to go not full, but I'm trying to go analog with a lot of my stuff, tasks, all that. And yeah, we'll see. As well as journaling in it. I've been doing that with some prompts from the Daily Stoic Journal. I got that earlier this year and wanted to use that and just was like, nah, I'm good. I didn't want to write in it. I was going to write in my journal and I didn't create the habit. And now I'm like fully in the habit of doing the morning and even the evening reflections that it has. And yeah, so far so good. Like I said.
Amazing.
Hit me back up in
Great
a month
nugget.
and we can see if...
How's that journal going?
How many pages?
That pretty galaxy journal.
Yeah, let's see. I am on, for accountability, I am on page 20 and 21 right now. So
that's a decent amount of writing already.
Yeah, and I've only had it since the weekend, since Saturday, so 4 days. Not all those awesome. 20 pages, like some of those index. There's a future log that I can put things in for future months. There's a whole system I got going from bullet journals.
Nice.
I'm trying to learn that. I am a novice at the Bujo method.
Oh, bullet journal.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have not investigated. So kudos to you. I love that nugget. A new journal can change everything.
Yep. When in doubt, get a new journal now.
Coach Kevin said it's okay.
Yeah.
Coach Kevin told me to. Coach Kevin made me do it.
Yeah. No, don't listen to Coach Kevin because books, journals, you name it, there's something arriving frequently here. All right. Is that it?
I think we're good.
Good to go. All right. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Reframeable Podcast, brought to you by the Reframe app. Reframe is the #1 iOS and Android app to help you cut back or quit drinking alcohol. It uses neuroscience to reframe your relationship with alcohol and unlock the healthiest, happiest you. If you are enjoying this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share with those that you feel may benefit from it. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover on the podcast, send an email to podcast@reframeapp.com and let us know. I want to thank you again for listening and be sure to come back again for another episode. Have a great day.
Friends. And